All right, welcome back. We're going to learn how to multiply complex numbers. We're actually going to start by multiplying two imaginary numbers, and then we're going to multiply imaginary by complex and complex by complex. So very simple. When you're multiplying two imaginary numbers, multiply the coefficients and then multiply the i's. Once you have the i's multiply, you want to simplify the i's, remembering that I squared is equal to -1, I cubed is equal to I to the fourth is equal to 1. All right, so if we multiply 3i by 6i, we multiply 3 by 6 and we get 18. And then we multiply I times I and we get I squared. Now we know that I squared equals -1, so that's really 18 times -1. So this becomes the number -18. And that's your final answer. That's what it multiplies to, simplifies to. You try number 2. Answer the video question. Here we go. 6 times -4 is equal to -24. I times I is I squared. We know that that I squared is the same as -1. So when I multiply -24 times -24 times -1, that's going to give me positive 24. And that's going to be my final answer. Number 3, I just want to show you one with fractions so you don't have to be afraid of them. We're going to multiply our fractions together. Oops. What's 3/4 times 4/9? Well, I'm going to cancel my 4's, cancel my 3 into my 9, and that gives me 1/3. So I'm going to have 1/3, and then I squared times I cubed, that's I to the 5th. Now we have to simplify I to the 5th. And we did that yesterday in class, actually today in class. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 5 and we're going to divide it by 4 and look at the remainder. That's 1.25. And if the remainder is 0.25, then we know that I to the 5th simplifies to I. I to the 5th is equivalent to I. So this becomes 1/3 times I. And that's our final answer. Okay? All right, now we're going to multiply imaginary and complex, and all you have to remember is how to distribute. So we've done distributing before, so we're going to go 4i times 6. Well, that's 24i. And then we're going to go 4i times 2i, so that's plus 8, and then I times I is I squared. What do we know that I squared equals? Well, it equals -1. So 24i plus 8 times -1. What's 8 times -1? -8. And then we want to put it in the form where our constant comes first along with its sign followed by imaginary. So it becomes -8 plus 24i. I don't know why that keeps doing that. Okay. Now I want you to try number 2, answer the video question and see how you do. All right, let's do it together. -3 times -4 is 12, and then I, and then minus 9i squared. What is I squared? I squared is -1, so we replace I squared with -1. So what is -9 times -1? That becomes plus 9. And now I put it in the correct order, and I get 9 plus 12i. And there is my answer. All right, now we're going to multiply two complex numbers together, and we're going to use distribution. Now we have two binomials, so we're going to use FOIL. Again, remember how to simplify your i's, and then we're going to combine imaginary with imaginary, constant with constant. All right, so here we go. All right, I have 3 times 4, that's 12, and then, let me draw the arrows, and then 3 times negative 2i, that's negative 6i. 5i times 4i, that's positive 20i. 5i times negative 2i, that's negative 10i squared. Right? So let's combine our i's and then simplify our I squared. So I get 12 plus 14i and then minus 10 times negative 1. Well, what is 10 times negative 1? That's positive 10, right? So I get 12 plus 14i plus 10, so that equals 22 plus 14i. All right, now go ahead and do problem B and see if you can get it right. All right, let's check this. And I'm going to go negative 3 times negative 4. That is positive 12 again. Negative 3 times negative 6i, that's positive 18i. 2i times negative 4 is negative 8i. And then 2i times negative 6i, that's negative 12i squared. Now we're going to combine our i's and substitute negative 1 in for I squared. And I get 12. Positive 18 minus 8, these both have i's, so that becomes plus 10i minus 12 times negative 1. So I get 12 plus 10i plus 12 when I simplify negative 12 times negative 1, and that gives me 24 plus 10i, and here is your final answer. Okay, this is the problem set that we're going to work on. You were given the worksheet, so if you want to get started, feel free. See you tomorrow.